You hear me? Yeah? Real quick before we start, did everybody get a ticket for the giveaway? Raise your hand if you didn't get a ticket. If you didn't get a ticket. Jose, do you have the tickets or no? Yes, I do. Raise your hand if you didn't get a ticket. There's gonna be a giveaway to win the Batman cowl that's up here. Someone's gonna walk away with a free Batman cowl at the end of this panel. So if you didn't get a ticket, please raise your hand so Jose can come over and hand you a ticket. But are you guys ready to have a good time? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cosplay Content Creation Panel at Megacon Orlando 2025. Make some noise. I will be your host. My name is Chazzy, the Chazzosaurus Rex of the Side Projekt podcast. Without further ado, I'd like to bring up our panelist for today, known for his amazing variations of Batman, high-quality content, stepping into the Mortal Kombat realm with Sub-Zero. Round of applause for Batmateo. This gentleman has an eye behind the lens that we've all immediately come to know and love. Someone who has been helping the community shine for years. Photographer extraordinaire, Jenkins Photography. From Marvel to DC to gaming to combining some into fusion cosplays, she crafts nearly all of her own and even takes a lot of her own photos. Hailing from our friendly neighbors up north in Canada, Lisa.MancinerH! Another with a wide variety of cosplays, touching various genres, making 90% of her own, even making mine. Taking an international perspective of the community and bringing her outlook to this very panel. It's Paper.Moon.Cosplay. We're super happy to have this next gentleman here make a last-minute adjustment to be here in place of Jason Ray Keith. He is a cosplayer, a crafter, a filmmaker with the likes of Red Hood, Mortal Kombat, Star Wars, and so much more. A round of applause for Capullo. Ladies and gentlemen, your panelists for the Cosplay Content Creation panel here at Megacon 2025. I love it, man. So good to see everybody here. We appreciate you. Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to our photographer and videographer, RLH here, Ray. He is a cosplayer himself who's recently stepped out and been helping the community shine by taking photos and videos, and it's a pleasure to have him here today with us as well, man. Thank you so much. Just for those that may or may not know me, for those that do know me, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. It's great to see familiar faces. For those that don't know me, my name is Chazzy of the Side Projekt podcast. I host a podcast that's available in video format on YouTube and Spotify. Very centered around cosplayers, kind of like what you're going to see here today, but in a not a live format. Focuses on cosplayers. Does a cosplay of the week every week as well. And then I also do hosting just like this at various panels across America and soon to be internationally as well. I'm a videographer, a composer, a director. I got a few short films out and everything, so that's why I am here today. But it's not about me, it's about all the amazing people that are here. Once again, if you just came in, I saw a few people that came in, make sure you get a blue ticket for the giveaway. Someone's gonna win this Batman cowl at the end of this panel. You're gonna walk away with it for free. But let's get to our panelists. It's not about me, it's about the panelists. When it comes to superheroes, comic book characters, when it comes to, like, I guess you could say the big dogs, right? Whether that be, Marvel or maybe DC speaks to you a little bit more, I think there's something that we can all agree on, and that's we all, at some point in time, love Batman or the Batverse, right? And Batmateo, you are in a Batman cosplay today, debuting a new suit at that, and it tends to be a cosplay that you have a focus on outside of your Sub-Zero. What is it about Batman specifically that draws you in so, generally speaking?
Well, I'd say the fact that he wasn't born with superpowers. For me, it was always, I'm a big believer that, you got to work hard to get what you want in life. And that's what Batman as a character embodies. He didn't get his powers from a lab accident. He wasn't born with them. He had to work hard to build his body, build his mind. And it's something that I always thought was really inspiring. And it's something that, growing up and even now, if I'm going through something difficult or an obstacle and, I don't know how I can get through it, I just, it's like, okay, I got to become Batman. As cheesy as that sounds.
Yeah.
And that just helps me get into that mindset. And so for me, the character is really important because I think without Batman, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah, I feel that, man. You tend to, like I said, you tend to have a focus on cosplaying Batman, and is your focus, outside of recently doing your Sub-Zero from MK1, on Batman in cosplay, that focus, is it purposeful? Are you, or I mean, rather, were you, since you've done Sub-Zero, purposely focusing on just Batman within cosplay, or was it just kind of the way things panned out for you when you first started cosplaying?
So actually, yeah, it was always about, that was always the intention, to be Batman. Honestly, the question wasn't which character am I going to dress up as, the question was which batsuit am I going to wear?
Right.
So, you know, honestly, it actually was Instagram and, you know, getting introduced to the cosplay community that made me realize, you know, there's this whole world and all these people who also, you know, share passion and love for all these characters. I had just started it initially as wish fulfillment. I mean, since I was 3 years old, I always wanted my own Batman suit. And that's the whole reason this even started, was so that I could have, you know, basically make my dream come true as a kid.
Right.
And yeah, now it's just been a ton of fun getting to meet so many awesome people like yourself, like the people here. And it's been great. And now, like, yeah, branching out to Mortal Kombat and Sub-Zero. But the focus will always be Batman, because that's what it's been about for me since the beginning.
From the dream to making it come true, how many batsuits do you have now?
So I currently have 4 completed, and there are 3 more in the works.
Oh, amazing,
and I will say there's an Arkham one coming, and I won't tell you guys which one. You'll have to stay tuned.
Nice, man, nice. Something that I like on the DC side of things is that kind of like dark and gritty aspect that it has to it. You know, DC has that dark feel. Like even Gotham itself, is kind of a character. You know, the setting, the feel, the tone. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Marvel. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about some Marvel stuff here and there as well. But as a matter of fact, I think I have to say, even though I'm praising DC right now, I think my all-time favorite comic characters ever is probably the X-Men. Do we got any mutant fans here? Yes, exactly. But I definitely do love that dark and gritty aspect to everything that DC has. And I had a conversation on my podcast with Jeff Jenkins Photography, about a year ago, where we touched on the subject of that dark and gritty. And I believe that, Jeff, at the time you stated that those dark and gritty aspects were something that you enjoyed photographing. What is it about those types of tones and themes and cosplays that attract you so, both as a photographer but also as a fan?
With the dark and gritty photography, it allows me to focus the viewer's eye more on the textures and the details of the suit without bringing in so much of the background. And DC side, there's a lot of dark and gritty. Batmateo as well. And it just allows you to focus in on the cosplay, bring those textures out, especially in some of the suits, and you really bring that to life with the lighting, and the shadows tell just as much of a story. That's what it is. So I like to bring a character to life and show that contrast between the light and the dark side of that photo, and just make sure that the viewer's eye is focused in on that cosplay itself, but without everything else behind it distracting.
Yeah, and you do an amazing job at it. Has everybody here has seen Jeff's work before? If not, it's obviously on the screen. And his booth is also right over there on the side of the stage as well. But as someone who partakes in some photography myself, I'm more of a videographer, but I do some here and there. I do engage in editing when I do photography. But something that I know that Jeff tends to pride himself on is, and it's a feat in itself, is trying to get the most out of a shot without editing, which means doing as much in-camera work at the moment to get the best possible satisfactory outcome, something that you do phenomenally and might just be a little bit of a trademark of yours as well. Was this a purposeful decision, I guess, of yours when you got into photography, or was it something that you kind of just landed on in the same way that I asked Batmateo and kind of just stuck with? And for other aspiring photographers that may or may not be here today, what advice would you give them on achieving such an in-camera focused outcome?
So it's kind of initially where I started, because I didn't come from a Photoshop experience background. So I had to play on my strengths when I started. So I would focus more on trying to nail the shot initially without having to do a lot of editing on the post side. And it just made the shots work better for me and in my style. And it kind of became my style, and I just rode with it. And I kind of prefer it that way. As soon as I take the shot, I kind of know already what I have to work with, and I don't have to spend a lot of time in post.
Yeah, and you do it amazing. I think it's kind of a trademark of yours to have that, that image that's all done like in camera with as little editing as possible. And then aside from, if anybody goes to Dragon Con, seeing his stare shots. I think that's become a staple in Jeff Jenkins photography as well, you know? But again, whether it be DC or Marvel or even Dark Horse or Image Comics, maybe even outside of comics into something like, you know, the movies or even into gaming, this community has fans from all aspects, things that we all love, cosplays that we all love to rock. And within that, we have the makers that contribute to making us look as awesome as we feel like we do, that contribute to when we walk around a con such as here at Megacon and we feel like a badass, or you feel like a princess, you know, or you feel like a warrior, or whatever your cup of tea is. And we thank those makers for that, because some of them aren't even cosplayers themselves and they just contribute to the crafts that we partake in. But then we have some that are makers and cosplayers, such as Lisa here, as well as Paper.Moon.Cosplay. Something that you both share is the fact that the majority of your cosplays, you both tend to make yourselves. If not all of them, you do create a lot of them, and some you create for others as well. Question for you both, when it comes to crafting, what would you say have been your hardest cosplays to create of all time? And Lisa, we'll start with you.
So I'll go first. Definitely my She-Ra armor, or I'm gonna say, yeah, my Poison Ivy, because both were handmade, minus the She-Ra sword, but everything else was not 3D printed or anything. I had to learn how to sew, I had to learn how to use Warbler, I had to learn how to use foam, and it was just, yeah, it was a lot, and it's all self-taught, so.
What was like the hardest aspect of that you, if you can give a little bit more detail, like what was the hardest aspect of both? Like
doing the whole Warbler chest plate situation on both was pretty difficult for me. The She-Ra one, I like actually patterned and figured out myself, so it's not as clean, and then the Poison Ivy with all the textures and everything, but really just getting things to fit proper is probably the biggest challenge. So definitely the two bodices.
Yeah, and they're amazing. Can we give a round of applause for how amazing it is to be able to craft something like that, you know, yourself, and then wear it as well? And then the same for Paper.Moon.Cosplay. I mean, what has been some of your hardest cosplays to create?
Well, for me, for sure, my Arkham Knight Batgirl, as you can see, is one of my most difficult cosplays I've ever made. It was the first time I made a cosplay that was fully printed. All the armor is printed, the gauntlets are printed, everything is printed. I never had to, I did print parts for my cosplays before, but not a whole suit, not a whole armor. So it's not only like working so hard on sending the pieces and priming them and painting them and everything, but to make sure everything fits together, sits together, and it's later I found out not so comfortable to wear. So I will remake this cosplay one day with different materials for sure. But it was an experience. I learned a lot making it. I learned a lot about scaling too, because in my opinion it was a little bit too big. And if I'll remake it, I'll make it a little bit smaller. But even simple cosplays can be sometimes difficult to make, because the simpler the cosplay is, the more you need it to be neat. You know, you need to be everything needs to be perfect. And one of the cosplays that I found most difficult to make was actually my Phoenix cosplay, my green Phoenix cosplay. I just really stuck on getting the right shade of green for this one, and I used the most terrible fabric for it. It didn't stretch. It was terrible to wear. It tore so easily. And because of that, nothing set right. And I really wanted it to look different than how it turned out to look. I did remake it later as Dark Phoenix using fabrics that I'm more comfortable working with. That was a lesson for sure. That just goes to show that not only like big and extravagant cosplays can be difficult to make, but also like the simplest cosplays can be difficult too.
It showed that simplicity has difficulty to it as well. And someone who has a heavy hand in the creation aspect of things as well is a gentleman that we've yet to hear from, someone who takes heavy inspiration from DC, which I feel is kind of like a theme that's running throughout this panel so far. But and he also shares pretty big inspiration with me, similarities in the gaming world and the things that we like as well. And he has absolutely amazing gaming cosplays within the likes of Mortal Kombat, even stepping into the Star Wars world as well, outside of just DC. And that's our boy here, Capture Realm. And again, thank you for making a last minute adjustment to be here. We originally had Marvel Comics comics colorist Jason Ray Keith on the panel, and he got sick last minute right before his flight and unfortunately had to cancel, so we wish him well. Capture, you create a lot of your own cosplays as well, much like Lisa and Paper Moon, if not all of them. And you two have a wide variety of creations, you know? I'm gonna ask you the same question basically. When it comes to partaking in the crafting side of things, what have been your most difficult?
The most difficult is having that positive self-talk and continuous motivation to continue doing what you're doing. Because a lot of us develop a bad habit of, just not feeling confident with the characters that we're trying to portray or create iterations of. And we kind of like critique ourselves and being like, it's not that cool, but if you display it for others to see, they start falling in love with those characters. And what I notice is that a lot of people will start to become motivated to get into the cosplay realm and just kind of like adding their own creativity to it. Yeah. So I think once you get to the 50% of what you're working on, you kind of see the end goal. You're like, okay, I see how this is turning out, and this is going to be great. And like I said, the most difficult is having that continuous positive self-talk. So we got to continue to remind ourselves that, the end product is going to be great, and there's going to be other people around you that really love it.
Yeah, definitely, man. I know that you, I don't have a picture of it to throw up right now, but I know you will be wearing it tomorrow. I know that you're going to be debuting a Cyrax for Mortal Kombat. Do we have any Mortal Kombat fans here? Any Mortal Kombat fans? Yes. We got a big Mortal Kombat group tomorrow, and he's debuting his Cyrax. So, like I said, I know I can't show it right now, but I just want to ask you, going off script here a little bit, like your deceased Red Hood that's on the screen, and then you also have like your Mando, plus the Red Hood that you're wearing now, and then your Cyrax. Out of those, for you, what was the hardest to create? Because I know the deceased one, you had to do like the zombie effect in the mask popping out and everything like that. Out of those four, what would you say was the hardest?
I want to say the deceased Red Hood, because that's that comes from an action figure. So I want to add a little touch to it, have a little zombie green skin. And the amount of paint that I was using, you're stacking layers on layers to have that damage effect, right, plus the skin effect as well. So that took a lot of time. I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but once I started, getting closer to the end, I was like, okay, this is going to turn out very well. So I was pretty happy with that. And that's where I started getting most into the short film aspect of adding like a story to that type of character.
Nice, definitely, man. I know that you're someone much like myself and much like Jeff and Batmateo as well when it comes to that those dark and gritty conversations that we had earlier. I mean, you're someone who kind of partakes in that and enjoys that as well. You're a Red Hood cosplayer for one, even taking things further with the deceased version that we just talked about. Your cosplays in Mortal Kombat, some may label that kind of as a darker aspect to it. Then you're also a filmmaker as well, often dealing with emotional aspects in your films, and yet again, kind of darker tones. And you even did a short inspired by Aliens. Some may say that that's kind of dark as well, which that last slide there is a screenshot from one of his films. What is it about these darker aspects to things, if you will, that attracts you so that you implement them into your cosplays, into your filmmaking? And why do you think cosplaying and filmmaking are also kind of synonymous?
So going with the dark and gritty aspect, I believe that, especially DC goes with the last chance perspective of their characters. So it really gives them, a sense to pursue their motivation into what they think is right, even though they may question their own morals. For example, Jason Todd, he felt like he's lost, and now he has a second chance to come back and make things his own way. But that kind of like delves into the aspect of having the motive to, disrupt his morals and things like that.
Interesting, man. Definitely, man. I agree with you, dude. I want to kick it back to Lisa real quick, because Lisa, you're an interesting cosplayer, not only creating and crafting a lot of your own cosplays, not only doing a Squirrel Girl cosplay where she has actual real squirrels crawling on her during this cosplay, if you can make that out.
Yeah, that's not Photoshop.
Yeah, those are real. That's absolutely amazing. But something that you also do is these awesome like mashup cosplays, these fusion cosplays, and you'll see some on the screen, such as combining Moon Knight and Sailor Moon. Another example being Sub-Zero and Elsa from Frozen, where the caption for that one on Instagram actually reads, "Girls don't want to be look like Disney princesses. They want to look like badass ice ninjas." I think that's hilarious. But what do you look for when combining characters together for a cosplay, like, do they have to have something in common, like the ice aspects, I guess you could say, of Frozen and Sub-Zero, for example? Or can you just kind of put something together that you like and mold it into whatever your vision may be? And do you have any mashups coming in the future?
So I try to do things that kind of make sense. Obviously, like the Sailor Moon Knight and this and that. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, I just love when the names kind of flow like that, or like Sub-Zero Elsa, like whatever.
Yeah.
I call the other one Sailor Wonder Moon. But those, like, I guess some of the times they have the same kind of elements that make sense combining, and sometimes they don't. Like the Sailor Wonder Moon, I also did a Rayler Moon, which was Rey from Star Wars with Sailor Moon. I made a little Lunacat BB-8 that rolls around.
Nice.
It really just depends, but I do really mean what I said. I'm like, I want to feel like a princess, but like a badass princess, like a princess you don't F with.
Yeah.
So I want to feel pretty, I want to feel badass, and unfortunately I don't want to wear a poofy dress. And that's just kind of how those mashups come into my head. But sometimes it's as simple as, I really like Ariel. I don't want to wear the pink dress, so I made her a seashell suit of armor, and now it's armored Ariel. So sometimes it doesn't.
Didn't you do a Batman Barbie mashup
I
too?
did, because they're both named Barbara. So there you go. I have Barbie Batgirl as well. As far as mashups coming up in the future, I still want to do Daenerys and Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon. So maybe this year, because is it this year How to Train Your Dragons is coming out, the live action? I don't know. Might have a little bit of relevance.
I think so.
But otherwise, just kind of do whatever pops in my head. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Definitely. Well, they're awesome. I really enjoy them. It's really cool to see something kind of just come from your mind and bring it to life. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I appreciate it as someone who appreciates cosplay. Paper.Moon.Cosplay. You have cosplays ranging from the likes of several Batgirls, variations of Catwoman, Elektra, Rogue, and even some gaming cosplays, such as, I hope I don't make everybody's iPhones go off right now, but such as Siri, which we got the opportunity, yeah, mine's going off right now. Which we got the opportunity to shoot a short film as well, which is based in the Witcher world, and it's on YouTube right now, and it's done thankfully well thus far, and I'm super thankful for that. The cosplays mentioned and the many that are not, you have all created pretty much all of them yourself, or created aspects of. And when it comes to creating, what's something that you don't do that you want to do, but maybe you haven't learned, or for whatever reason just haven't developed the skill to partake in yet? And with that being said, is there a cosplay that may go along with that you, if you did partake in those skills, that you would create?
Well, sewing is my strong suit, so I'm usually sewing my cosplays, and I'm pretty good with printing props and stuff. I'm EVA foam, and me and are not such good friends. But I was trying to learn how to cast my own urethane pieces lately. And I had the great help of Jay Curtis to help me go through this process. And actually, I was supposed to debut a cosplay here of a new Batgirl,
right, with
parts that I was supposed to cast for it. Unfortunately, I decided to learn how to acquire this new set of skills too late. And I didn't take into consideration that it will, I'll have failures. And it will take time to make it like 100% perfect the way I want it to look. So I did learn how to do it, and it turned out great. I just learned that nothing glues to urethane, which I didn't think about it. I just the day before the flight, I learned that I need a special glue for it, so I didn't debut it. But that's also a part of cosplay, learning from your mistakes, what to do, what not to do next, how to make things better. I actually, every few years, I remake my cosplays because I feel like I acquired better skills to make it better. So I don't see it as a failure. I mean, I learned from my mistakes. It also makes you really appreciate all the makers that makes all those stuff. And I will make this Batgirl eventually when I feel like it's the way I want it to look, not like halfway.
Definitely.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
What's up, everybody? Live from the Projekt Studios real quick. Come on. We got to break up the monotony and get into this week's Cosplay of the Week. And this week's Cosplay of the Week is none other than bearded, tattooed guy in Georgia. This is a long time coming, and he was actually in the audience at the Projekt panel at Megacon 2025. Got the chance to hang with him for a few moments. Got the chance to meet him several times in the past as well. An amazing guy, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about now. And this is of his Rhino. Absolutely amazing, dude. And by the way, I don't know who did this photo, man. You didn't have it listed. I'm pretty sure you didn't have it listed on who took this shot. So when you see this, please write it down in the comments if it's just a promo clip on Instagram that you see this on, or whether it's the full episode on YouTube as well, wherever you'd like to write it. Do let me know who did the photo so we can give them credit. This thing is absolutely amazing, dude. You make an amazing Rhino. It looks just phenomenal. I wish that I wish that I could get the chance, stuttering here, I could get the chance to shoot this Rhino in action in some videography. I don't know what your movement is like in it, but that would be cool if we could get some crazy cool action shots, you know what I mean? And hitting a Spider-Man. That would be awesome if we can get an actual Spider-Man. And have you hit him and he fly. I know Caleb Weeks is good with the flips and things like that. You know what I mean? Previous guest cosplay of the week, my homeboy Caleb. I know he's good with flips and everything. So it'd be crazy cool if we could get for instance, Caleb and you're running and you do a thing, you do the Rhino thing and you flip and Caleb flips over you. That would be crazy cool, dude. But your Rhino is amazing, man. Much like a lot of your cosplays. I actually got the chance to shoot your Sentinel at Cosplay World. That was dope. Absolutely crazy tall, but I'd love to know what your mobility is like in something like a Rhino and what we would be capable of doing videography wise. You know what I mean? You got the look for a Rhino as well, man. Your face and everything in that comic accurate style suit. You look like you would be the character. At least one of the illustrations that I'm thinking of in my head right now. Absolutely phenomenal, dude. I really love it. And I want to throw up a second one, and I'm throwing it up on the screen right about now. And that was me throwing a Batarang. This is his Thrasher suit, his Thrasher bat suit. This is insane, dude. This is insane. And the photo is by NY Cosplayer. Phenomenal, dude. And if you go through on there, this post was actually posted by NY Cosplayer and then collabed with Peter Tattoo Guy in Georgia himself. But if you go through on any of their Instagrams and you look through, you'll see some edits as well of this particular shot. And this thing is insane, dude. And NY Cosplayer actually went in the caption and wrote a few different things here, and I want to read some of them. He put some quotes, I believe, that are from probably the comic and everything, and I want to read some of them. It says, "My suit is built for war. It's made of metal aramid fibers of my own design, tougher than Kevlar, made to withstand burning heat and freezing cold temperatures as low as the Arctic winter." Thrasher Batman suit. It was actually made by, the Batman suit was actually made by Real Awesome Works with a Z25. Phenomenal. There's another quote here. It says, "It uses semi-solid flow micro battery. It has enough oxygen for weeks, meaning it's built for battle in the most alien territories on Earth. And I'm wearing it here in my own home." The story is from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, where Bruce puts on a Thrasher suit to battle the Talons sent by the Court of Owls as they invade Wayne Manor and the Batcave. Really, really awesome. And thank you, NY Cosplayer, for putting what I would have ended up doing, some of my research, and putting it in there and having me read it. As far as the suit itself that you're rocking, Bearded Tattoo Guy in Georgia, it's phenomenal, dude. From head to toe. Shout out to Real Awesome Works as well. This thing is insane. And this one is the one that I haven't seen in person. I would love to see in person. And like we've talked about before behind the scenes, man, it's been a long time coming for you to be the cosplay of the week. And we have talked about you being on the show quite a while ago. And we are going to definitely do that, man. This is my double confirmation to welcome you on the show. We will make it happen. And I want to talk with you and get to know a little bit more about what you do and what you don't do, in the sense of, because it says, suit by Real Awesome Works, and just get the insight and everything about you. You know how it goes, man. So this is my invite. Definitely welcome you on. We'll reach out to you and we'll get it scheduled, dude. Your cosplays are phenomenal, man. They're absolutely phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not following Bearded Tattoo Guy in Georgia, please go follow him right now. It's on the screen, so you'll see, but it's underscores in between each word. And thank you for coming to the Bearded Tattoo Guy in Georgia. Thank you for coming to the Megacon panel and being present for that. I appreciate your presence and I appreciate your time because everybody could have been anywhere else and they chose to be there that morning. So ladies and gentlemen, please go follow him if you're not, because Bearded Tattoo Guy in Georgia, your Rhino and Thrasher Batsuit cosplay of the week for me and all of Megacon and everybody tuning in. It's amazing. And now, back to your regularly scheduled program. Real quick, I want to make sure, because I've seen some people come in and out and whatnot, that everybody's gotten a ticket for the giveaway. We're going to be announcing the ticket, the giveaway just shortly here. If you didn't get a ticket, raise your hand. And no lying. Okay, all right, just making sure. Is there someone over there? No? Okay. All right, some people came in and out. Maybe they didn't know we have a giveaway. Should have stayed. But we have a little bit of extra time here, so I want to kick things around and mix it up a little bit. I want to ask the audience if they have any questions for the panelists. Please raise your hand, and we'll pick out a couple if you have any. No questions right now. Maybe if you think of something, I have some. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You can come over here. I'll give you the mic. There we go. I'll give you the mic. Come on over. Make some noise for him. What's your name, man? Go ahead.
Hi, yes, I was wondering, me and my friend were doing Elden Ring cosplay, and for the armor that he's doing right now, a lot of it is like stacking up on top of each other to kind of give it a whole stair look effect, but because of that, it's really hard to bend it or mold it to a way to where he's still able to move and all that kind of stuff. Do you have any recommendations for trying to fix something like that?
What is he using for the armor?
EVA foam, 2mm.
He should probably use the Formlite stuff that bends easier and use a thinner. If you're gonna stack it, definitely use thinner foam. That's all I can say. He might be using the hard light stuff. That stuff doesn't have a lot of bend. I know like times I've made like bracers or something and like it can start like trying to move, but if you're gonna be layering stuff, thinner's better for sure.
Okay.
I can just say that if it's on a part that joints, you can make a cut and then it just, you can move it. So it's easier for me to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Give it up for Henderson, man.
I kind of have two questions. Oh, okay. So how do you find the best place to take photos in cosplay, and how do you film at like conventions and stuff? Because that's where I mostly wear my cosplays, and I can't ever find a time to film.
You want to go first? Do you have anything to add first? I got some.
So as far as finding a location at a convention to shoot, it is very difficult because a lot of conventions have different rules for setting up any kind of light stands or a camera stand or any kind of lighting. So you have to make sure you adhere to those convention rules. Best bet is to try and find a location outside with landscaping if you can, or work off of some of the stairways that are outside. And if you're out of the way of public, generally they'll leave you alone. But if you're in a main pathway and people are trying to cross through, they're going to give you more trouble there. So try and watch those exits and entranceways.
Okay.
I was just gonna say go find the areas where there's no people. Like a con center like this, I'm like, there's like 9 million places to shoot where there's absolutely no one that is gonna bother you. But are you talking about like self-shooting, like with a cell phone? Or are you talking about like TikTok and all that?
Yes, like YouTube Shorts, TikToks, and longer form videos.
Yeah, I would just find a quieter area. Convention centers are usually really big. Bring your tripod, bring your Bluetooth button, and everyone will leave you alone. And this is the place where it's very socially acceptable to just do that with everybody walking by. So, yeah, I get
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Round of applause for her as well. I was going to say, I'll add to that one as a videographer as well, just something that I look for if you're going to try to do longer form content, or maybe even if it's short, but if it's like with a professional camera, or even if you're able to achieve that look with an iPhone, things that I always look for are backgrounds that have textures, because they pop. They really pop out. And maybe even colorful backgrounds, like even something like this pillar behind you right there, it has texture to it. So if you can get good lighting and maneuver certain ways, that texture will pop out and add that contrast between the subject and the background. It really does help. Do we have any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand if anybody has a question. You can come on up, and then you can come on up too. You can line up here if you'd like.
So my question was mainly because for me, my issue with cosplay is I'm a perfectionist. How do y'all get over perfectionism when it comes to like coming to a con in cosplay?
I'm also a perfectionist, so I get it. I mean, the first rule is never start your cosplay too late. I always start my cosplays months before the convention. I hate the con crunch. It gives me stress because I want everything to be perfect, and I want everything to work out. So I always start my cosplays a few months before the convention. So that's the first. I lay out my costume on a paper. I draw it, the details that I want to make. I make mock-ups before, make sure that the mock-up works well, and then I try it on the fabric itself. And just trials and errors, you know. You have enough time to wear it, see where you need to fix it, and fix it if you have enough time before the con to make sure everything works perfectly.
Yeah, big on like giving yourself enough time, especially for con. When I first started cosplaying years ago, I used to rush through everything, look in my mirror, go, this looks great. 20 minutes into the con, everything's unhot gluing, everything's falling off, paint is chipping. So it's really about taking the time as far as you can in advance and perfecting things, and then definitely testing them out in your house. I mean, it is hard to like grasp, but at the end of the day, it is supposed to be for fun unless you're entering a competition. So even for myself, I need to learn like, chill. We're gonna be obsessing about details that other people won't care. Like right now, I wish my hair flipped out more. I tried my best. Like.
Thank you. Round of applause for her as well.
I'm glad I don't need a microphone.
You're loud? Okay, all right.
How do you get over the awkwardness of posing?
The awkwardness of posing.
Honestly, my biggest piece of advice is just the more you do it, the easier it gets, and the less like you care about anybody staring, what you're doing, especially at a place like this. I actually feel more confident doing any of that than like I do a lot of my shoots in like downtown Toronto when people are literally just walking by at like Wednesday at like 2 p.m. and they're definitely all staring, and I'm definitely wearing a tight white Zentai suit as well. And like honestly, the more you do it, the more you just get over it. You just have to remember, like, none of these people matter. You're gonna go home, you're gonna post it on your social media, and no one's gonna sit there and be like, oh my God, you were probably in a public place doing that. All right. This is the age of content. We just, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, maybe Jeff can give more insights about how photographers should make cosplayers feel comfortable posing.
Yeah, that's a good.
But I just say that I used to train in front of mirrors at the beginning, but when I get photos and I see what I don't like about how I look, I fix it next time. So I just know, like, my facial expressions, I should smile less here, do less here. It's just a process of learning what looks best on camera.
I do competition bodybuilding, and my coach literally tells me, you're not a natural smiler. And I'm like, I'm not. I have bitch face. I know I have bitch face. And I do practice, but it's hard that I forget to smile.
That's okay. I hate my smile, to be honest. I hate how I look, how I smile, and I just don't smile. Yeah. I think characters that are just badass, you know? You just do this. Yeah. And that's good.
Me too, that's all I do. I'm like a little bit of a, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I'm like a Disney princess. I guess I don't like mine either.
I mean, just from a photographer standpoint, it is the photographer's job to make you feel 100% comfortable during the session. So it's on them to, you know, if you're at a shoot somewhere that's really quiet, that could be awkward at points during that, play some music. You know, bring things in that keeps the shoot going, that keeps it entertaining. You know, be conversational during the shoot, not just posing directions, but conversational. You know, just regular chit chat to make the person feel comfortable during the shoot, and that should be the main focus every time.
Yeah, definitely. Round of applause. Round of applause.
Hey guys, friends. I guess piggybacking off of what you kind of finished on your statement there, you said this is the age of content creation. So mine is like, if you look at the industry, how much has changed from like 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, like everything is completely changed. Where do you guys see this industry going in the next 5 to 10 years? And what are your kind of like end game goals for this industry?
That's a good question, man. I personally love to put Capture and Batmateo on the spot for this one.
I have no idea where it's going. But I will say for me, like, goals is just whether or not, you know, the social media thing continues on, or whether or not the social media thing continues on or not. My goal is to one day get a Bat Cave and a Batmobile. That's all I care about.
I mean, the day of content creation, of course, everything now is much more produced. There's so much more editing involved. There's so much more, thinking something out and coming out with a planning phase for everything you're trying to create, because you want to be unique. You want to stand out. You don't want to be that same content that keeps coming out. So there is a lot of that. It's a struggle, and it comes back to perfectionism. Wanting that content to be perfect, but at the end of the day, posting content is still posting content, whether it's good or bad. Post it, because it's only going to get better as you share more and as you do more work. Yeah. If you wait for that perfect content, then you're going to be just waiting. Why not just take the time and shoot your content and post it, and then grow from there?
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely.
I just want to follow up on that, because actually what you were just saying, I totally agree. Just post it, because there are a lot of times I reuse stuff too, and then last year I only wore my bat suit like 5 times, I think, the entire year. But I had hundreds of videos and photos, and it's just reusing stuff, kind of changing things around, and keep on going, because then, despite only wearing it a few times, some videos will take, and then they'll go viral.
Yeah, I'll add to that as well. There's been times where I've posted a video as a videographer and it did okay, and then some time went by. Maybe we've actually had that before, where Instagram took an audio down. Have you guys ever had that, where they removed the audio for whatever reason? And then so we reposted that video, 6 months, 7, 8 months later, and it actually did phenomenal this time, whereas it only did maybe okay last time. So even reusing content, sometimes there is a plus in that as well. There is a plus in that. We are running just a little bit short on time, so I want to get to a couple more questions, and then so we can get to the giveaway as well.
One quick question. So with the ever-evolving, and you guys kind of answered this already, but the evolving landscape of social media to do with content creation in general has changed the game a lot, right? We're seeing people from around the world. It's not just in your own area, your own cons, that type of stuff. And at the same time, people are trying to hop on trends immediately, all that type of stuff. How has that changed your guys's, how do you guys do content differently to stand out, to make a name for yourself in a world that's so small and so competitive?
That is a great question. Can I kick that one over to Capture? Because just to piggyback off that, Capture does some filmmaking as well, so you have a different aspect to bring to this.
Yeah, so I try to look at the trends of how everybody's, approaching their ideas, and I try to do it from original perspective, like adding my own story to it, trying to add like music, whether it's a creator. Chazzy's done some of my music.
Oh, thank you for
I try to film my own angles, and I try to do a lot of my script and voice acting in it rather than using templates. But there are times where I do use a lot of templates too, because they kind of help me get a better understanding of how the trends are working. And like they were saying before, just post the content. You never know if it's going to hit or not. And it may not be about the views and followers or whatever, but there's going to be somebody out there that's going to be inspired by it. So, yeah.
Well, I'll just say that social media made cosplay a global thing. So I'm not even from America, and I have to take into consideration when I'm posting that most of my audience is American. So I post in American times, and it's crazy because I've been cosplaying for 15 years, and when we started cosplaying, we didn't have all that. We just cosplayed for fun. We went to meetings, had fun, and I think we should remember that it's also a good way to connect to new people and have fun doing that. So social media is a great platform to get to know other people and have fun creating content, and just use it to have fun cosplaying, not just because it's really difficult when social media dictates how you do your content, and it's terrible because we all do that. We want our posts to do better. We want to look good, but please just keep in mind that cosplay should be fun. Do it for yourself. Do whatever makes you feel good. Post whatever makes you feel good, and just have fun cosplaying.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get to the giveaway. So everybody's got a ticket for the giveaway, right? Everybody here? I feel like there's some liars in the audience today, All right, we're going to pick one. Everybody can see it. We're doing it live. You can sell tickets that you got. There's no favoritism, no matter who it is. And can we get a drum roll? Can you guys get a drum roll? I'm picking at random. And it is number 564138. Is it you? Come on up. Congratulations. Woo! You are the winner of the Batmateo's giveaway of the Capullo Batman Cowl. Yes, crafted by AE Cosplay Suits. Appreciate you, man.
Gabe, hold it up.
Yeah, get a picture. You gotta get a picture, man. Will it fit? Will it fit? You can have him get a picture with stand in front of the table so he can get a picture with everybody. Yeah. That is awesome, man. There you go. There we go, man. And stay off to the side. I want to hop up there with you guys and get a picture as well. But give me 1 minute to hit the outro here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for being here. You guys are absolutely awesome. Round of applause for spending your time here with us when you could have been absolutely anywhere else. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Shout out to Megacon for allowing us to tear this roof down here today, right? Am I right? And a round of applause for all of our panelists here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Batmateo. Jenkins Photography, Lisa.MancinerH, Paper.Moon.Cosplay, and Capullo. And shout out to Marvel Comics colorist who would have been here, Jason Ray Key. He has a Cosplay World convention in Richmond, Virginia that he does, and he gave me the pleasure of announcing the dates, and I believe they are July 12th and 13th, or July 13th and 14th. I'm so sorry, I'm on a little sleep, you guys, but the announcement will come out on social media shortly. But if you're in Richmond, Virginia, or looking to attend Cosplay World, please do that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chazzy of the Side Projekt Podcast. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much.